This is FE Peer Review. The date is August the 6th, 2022. DITRH, David Weiss, creator of the Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, lies to us about the James Webb Telescope. This video came to my attention thanks to a live stream by Arctic Reflections. You see the live stream here. Thank you, Arctic. Love your channel. If you guys don't know Arctic Reflections, head on over and check out his channel. There's a link in the description. I left a comment on Dave Weiss's video. He had somebody else talking on his video about the James Webb Telescope and making a bunch of nonsense claims about the imagery being CGI. Timestamp 353, they all came from Adobe Photoshop, meaning the images from the James Webb Telescope. I responded, he has no clue. For the most part, nothing comes from Photoshop. It is used to manipulate image data that you already have. Yes, I'm going to expand on that a little bit. You can indeed, of course, create stuff within Photoshop, but for the most part, what people do is bring imagery into Photoshop and then manipulate it there. The James Webb Telescope is producing data and relaying that back to NASA. That data consists of a huge amount of data beyond the visible spectrum as well as within it. This data is then processed in various ways to learn various things. One of the ways in which it is processed in Photoshop is to give us beautiful imagery in a format NASA can post on the internet, JPEGs, as a part of its outreach to the public so that the public can appreciate something of the work that it's doing. The image that they analyzed in the video was one of those images made for the internet, obviously done in Photoshop, which simply enough explains the metadata attached to that image. To be clear, NASA's work is not to take pretty pictures of outer space to post on the internet for our pleasure. Dave Weiss, their job is not to convince you that the Earth is not flat. They don't know you exist, and frankly, my dear, I'm sure they wouldn't give a damn if they found out you did exist. They are doing intense scientific work that people like Weiss can't begin to grasp. In brief, James Webb Telescope is designed to look as far deep into space and back in time as possible. To do so, it needs detectors for the visible spectrum, but more importantly, it needs detectors for the infrared spectrum. Infrared light is invisible to the human eye. So if we want to create images that we can look at with our eyes to give us, the public, an idea of what data is being collected, that infrared data must be altered using tools like Photoshop. But that is just incidental to the scientific work being done. The following is a quote from NASA's James Webb Telescope website describing this a bit more. And instead of reading that here, I'm going to go to a screenshot of the NASA website. Why is Webb optimized for near and mid-infrared light? The primary goals of Webb are to study galaxy, star, and planet formation in the universe. Note, Dave, that its primary goal has nothing to do with convincing you or any other flat earther of anything. To see the very first stars and galaxies form in the early universe, we have to look deep into space, to look back in time. The universe is expanding, and therefore the farther we look, the faster objects are moving away from us, redshifting the light. Redshift means that light that is emitted as ultraviolet or visible light is shifted more and more to redder wavelengths in the near and mid-infrared part of the light spectrum for very high redshifts. Therefore, to study the earliest star formation in the universe, we have to observe infrared light and use a telescope and instruments optimized for this light. Star and planet formation in the local universe takes place in the centers of dense, dusty clouds obscured from our eyes at normal visible wavelengths. Near-infrared light with its longer wavelength is less hindered by the small dust particles, allowing near-infrared light to escape from the dust clouds. By observing the emitted near-infrared light, we can penetrate the dust and see the processes leading to star and planet formation. That's the important bit relevant to the image that was being analyzed on, if you want to call it that, on David Weiss's channel. So just a little reminder to Dave. NASA's job is not to try to convince a handful of irrelevant flat earthers that they're wrong. NASA doesn't care. We don't care. The world doesn't care. NASA's job is to do much bigger things than that. I know you have a problem with that, but you know what? We don't care. You all have a nice day. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, there's a like button down there. Give it a click and leave me a comment. Always love to hear what you guys have to say. Bye-bye.